Since the inception of football at Grand Valley 40 years ago, the site where games are played on campus has remained fundamentally unchanged until now. Here in 2012, Lubbers Stadium features a manufactured field turf for the first time, along with a look that modernizes football in Allendale forever.
I enjoy speaking with our football alums that played back in that era, and they talk about portable bleachers being hauled out here for every game, and those were the early beginnings of Lubbers Stadium. They're for great memories, but here today in 2012, our goal is to make sure this stadium is worthy of the man's name who is on it, and that's President Emeritus Don Lubbers, who did so much for our school and building the foundation for this tremendous school. And he was the guy that started the sport of football here when he was president. And at that time, it wasn't perhaps a consensus popular decision, but it clearly has turned out to be a good decision for our institution, as I think the football program at Grand Valley has brought a lot of pride and recognition to Grand Valley.
We've been fortunate to have large crowds over the past 5-10 years, but we've only had capacity for 8,500. Now we have capacity for almost 10,500, so more of our fans are going to have an opportunity to sit down. We have new sections. We've added the whole lower bowl, so we've added 2,300 more seats. We've added the Huntington Club, so you have chairback seating for up to 388. So we have new amenities for our fans.
While the old field at Lubbers Stadium was one of the best grass surfaces to be found in the Midwest, it was still a field that was vulnerable to rain and cold weather. And while the new surface doesn't have natural drainage, it does have a modern irrigation system that removes precipitation quickly and allows the field to retain its natural playability.
Over the 40 years of evolvement of artificial turf, it's probably as close to grass as you can get without it actually being grass. The sub-base is sand and rubber pellets that soften the surface. The fibers themselves are about as much of a replica of real stems of grass that you can possibly get. And I think you'll find that most players really enjoy playing on a surface such as field turf.
Yeah, of course the artificial turf doesn't require the kind of maintenance that the natural grass turf required over the years, and you don't have to worry about relining it every game, so there's some maintenance benefits from that aspect. There's some general maintenance that we have to do on the turf itself, but the playing surface, this surface is the same surface that the Lions play on in their facility in Detroit, and it's used in a number of other D1 schools and professional fields around the country. And it's the same turf, manufacturer of turf, that we use in the turf building. So when they do practice indoors, they're basically practicing on turf that is the same product, feels the same, looks the same, cuts the same when they make their cut.
Studies show that field turf is as safe as natural grass and hard ground to play on. And the other factor is, again, I think players really like playing on field turf.
The drainage is excellent. We had a real hard rain. I think it was about a 1 or 2 inch rain here a few weeks ago on a Thursday. So we came out and checked the field after that, and you wouldn't have known it had rained. I mean, there were no mushy spots, no wet spots, no collected water on the surface. So it's performing, at least through that first rain, as we would have expected it to.
Another thing fans will notice this year at Grand Valley is the old track has been removed, meaning Lubbers is essentially a one-sport site. But Selgo and others understand that as time goes on, the football field will likely be available for other low-traffic activities that won't put the surface under duress.
Well, we're just starting to look at that. I think there are some things that we would be attracted in hosting here. I think as time evolves, the answer is there probably will be multiple uses of this facility. But there's also a shelf life to artificial turf as well. So there's always that concern about what kind of activities take place on it. But I think it does give us the opportunity to perhaps expand some things we're doing in Lubbers Stadium, and it is such a beautiful venue that we'd like to be able to use it as often as we can, as long as it's realistically something that we can host on our campus.
It's going to allow us to do different things. It's going to allow us to do things during the summer, other events. So having a new playing surface, more seats, closer to the environment, allows for a great experience.
In addition to field changes, Grand Valley fans and patrons will notice increased amenities in 2012. Restrooms have been added, along with new space for concessions, souvenir and gear sales, and additional viewing areas.
Again, I'm standing in one of them, and that's the Pepino's patio. And so this gives a feature for our fans that you can bring a group out inside the stadium. It's catered. You're able to stay with your group and watch the game from the north end zone. We've been able to add more space for merchandising. So Louis' locker room now has a 30 by 40 foot space that we're selling merchandise. Again, as you grow and you have more people inside your stadium, more seats, more fans coming to your games, you need those amenities to accommodate those.
And while Lubbers Stadium now seems much more enclosed than it was a decade ago, school officials are hopeful of upgrading the stadium even more. In the future, there could be an expansion of media facilities, along with access for game day operation vehicles and even fan parking.
Well, our master plan, we still have some things we want to accomplish here. We do need to build a visitors locker room. We would want to do that on behind the east stands, along with more restrooms and concessions, permanent restroom and concessions facilities. We need a locker room for the officials.
So create a new stadium perimeter. If our entrance at the southeast, where we have a brick structure that we constructed in 2004, we would carry that brick structure in the way of fencing and architectural metal fencing all the way around the east side of the stadium and create a new point of entry, which would have a new ticket gate also at the east end of the stadium or along the east side of the stadium.
40 years ago at Grand Valley, a football Saturday included portable bleacher stands and movable signage. In 2012, the seats, information displays, like the video board, and the new field turf are now firmly anchored and here to stay. For the Grand Valley State Sports Report, I'm Tom Cleary.